Hello everyone. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the relationship between stakeholders and the types of power and how these ideas affect negotiation and conflict management. So first, just to explain what stakeholders are, they're basically any individuals or groups that have an interest in an organization or a specific decision. This can include employees, managers, customers, investors, suppliers, and even the community. Each stakeholder has different goals, priorities, and level of influence, which is where power comes into play. Power is the ability to influence decisions or outcomes, and not all stakeholders have the same type and level of power. There are a few main types of power that are important to understand. For example, legitimate power comes from the person's position or role, like a manager or an executive. Then there's expert power, which comes from the knowledge and skills. Reward power is the ability to give incentives, while coerce power is the ability to punish or enforce consequences. There's also referent power, which is based on relationships, trust, or respect. The key relationship here is that stakeholders use different types of power to try and influence outcomes in the ways that benefit them. For example, a manager might use legitimate power to make a final decision, while an employee with specialized knowledge might use expert power to influence that decision. At the same time, customers can have power too, especially if their satisfaction affects the company's success. Now, when it comes to negotiation, these differences in power really matter. The more power a stakeholder has, the more influence they typically have in the negotiation process. For example, someone with strong exert power might be able to persuade others more easily, even if they don't have a high position in the organization. On the other hand, someone with less power may need to rely more on collaboration, preparation, or building relationships to be heard. When it comes to conflict management, understanding stakeholders and power is just as important. Conflict often happens because stakeholders have competing interests or feel that their needs aren't being considered. Power differences can make conflicts more complicated. For example, if one person has more authority, others might feel hesitant to speak up, which can lead to unresolved issues or resentment. That's why good conflict management involves balancing power and making sure all stakeholders feel heard. Techniques like active listening, meditation, and open communication can help reduce negative effects of power and imbalances. Leaders especially need to be aware of their own power influences in situations, as they should try to create an environment where people feel comfortable sharing their perspectives. So overall, stakeholders and power are closely connected because different stakeholders bring different types of influence in a situation. These differences shape how negotiations play out and how conflicts are handled. Understanding both can help create better communication, stronger decisions, and more effective problem solving.